Hi there, my name's Wolfster and welcome to Is the Human Race About to Mature? And of course, episode 1. Episode 1 is all about what is your soul? That's a question so many people ask. And it's a very, very important part of understanding who am I. Now, I'm going to start here because one of the most important things to ask or to answer the question, who am I? First of all, you need to know, what am I? Logical? Yeah. So now I'm going to be presenting to you that the human soul is actually a composite body, a composite of 4 different bodies. You have your physical body, which we all know, and I'm not going to talk too much about the physical body because there's so much information out there already about the physical body. Amazing machine, it is for sure. But we have our physical body, we have our mental body, we have our emotional body, and we have our spirit. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on the physical body or the mental or the emotional, but something that I am going to talk quite a bit about is the spirit, because the spirit body is the one that is really and shamefully really not understood. Now, first of all, I will talk a little bit about the physical body because so many people think, or they look in the mirror and they think that's me. But just think of it this way. If you got a photo album and you got a baby photo of yourself and you pick it up and you think, that was me. And then maybe a bit later on, your graduation photo. Oh yes, that is definitely me, yes. A bit later on, maybe a wedding photo. You get a little bit older. You think, oh, yeah, that's me. And maybe much later in life, you see an old age photo and you're oh, is that me? Oh, yeah, that's me. Obviously, the physical body changes all the time. In fact, we now know that you've pretty much got another body every 7 years. So obviously, your physical body isn't who you are. But it's a component of your soul. So it's one of the 4 bodies that make up your soul. And of course, when we die, then what happens? We either bury the body or cremate it. So obviously, we are not our physical body. Now, the second one that I've got there, I think I put it, I put the mind first, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what order I do it in. The mind, the mental body. Now, it's a very, very amazing body, that is. I believe that we've come a long way since the days of Freud. And psychology is developing all the time. But to be honest, some might not like this, and I might not be very popular with some. But I actually believe that modern psychology is in its very early development stage. We still have so much to learn about the mind and how it works. Now, have you ever thought too, sometimes we change our mind? I just thought this morning actually of a little illustration with that, how we change our mind. And this illustrates the point that we are not our mind, because we change it all the time, but we don't change who we are or what we are. But I just thought of this little illustration this morning. I was thinking of the movie Oliver Twist. I think it was Oliver Twist. And there's a guy in there called Thanigan. And towards the end of the movie, he's got his riches and he thinks, I'm reviewing the situation. And he's starting to think he's going to change his life and be someone else. And so he's introduced, my lady, how do you do? Pleased to meet you, sir. Oh, magistrate. Magistrate? And he says, I think I'd better think it out again. That just illustrates how we change our mind. But we don't change who we are, do we? So obviously, we are not our mind. And a very important thing to note with this is, if we appreciate that we are not our mind, then when we make a mistake, we are then not, we don't have to feel really down on ourselves as though I made a mistake. Oh, what a tragedy. And our self-esteem comes down. If you realize that you're not your mind, then your self-esteem does not have to crash just because you made a mistake. So I believe that is a very important point, in knowing that we are not our mind. Now, what about the emotions? I'll just, oh no, I won't go there just yet. Our emotions, our emotional body. Now, I'm going to make a statement here that possibly many won't like, but our emotions are not actually our feelings. Many people that think that our feelings, oh, this is how I feel and that's my emotions. I'm going to say to you, I'm going to present to you, if you don't want to appreciate that, well, that's up to you. But I'm going to present to you that your emotions are actually energies, and we know that in the universe, everything is made up of energy vibrating at different frequencies. And that includes your body, the universe itself, your mental faculties, your emotions, everything, even your spirit. It is energy vibrating at different frequencies. What your emotions actually are is energies that you use to motivate yourself with. And I'm going to call it like a toolbox. And I've got my toolbox here, just as an illustration. So imagine that as your emotions. And your emotions if you need an emotion, I'm going to use a hammer. Now, a hammer can be used in many different ways. You can use your hammer to hit a chisel and create a beautiful sculpture, or you can use it to build a house, something very constructive, or you can dong someone on the head with it. Now, it's not the hammer that is the problem, it's how we use it. And every emotion, and there are many, many emotions, every emotion is just an energy that we use to motivate ourselves. So just as our mind is how we guide ourselves, it's how we think, it's how we create our emotions. We bring our emotions to that, and that's how we then act. Just another way of illustrating this, and why it's so important actually to have a knowledge of how our emotions and how our mind work together. On my board here, I've got the four: the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. It's very important to understand how these all work together, because we are actually all one soul, of course. We're a living soul. And I'm just going to pick on one area of the way the mind and the emotions work together, and that's the difference between belief and faith. So maybe you've asked that question yourself. What's the difference between belief and faith? Well, belief is a mindset. So you can come up against or be presented with some form of mental thinking or some book that you've come across, or some conversation you've had with someone, and you say, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, that sounds true to me. Yeah. But then how does it develop after that? Maybe you just walk away and say, yeah, I'm going to believe that. Yeah. But it's only when we take the emotion of faith and join that emotion of faith, so that mindset that can guide us with the emotion that can motivate us, you put that together, and then that creates action. So you then start to live with or actually work with a new pathway. So that's just one example. Somewhere down the track, I in my 18 episodes, I might even do a 19th episode actually, on all the different emotions and how they relate to different mindsets. But that's not what I want my focus to be today. I'm also going to give you an illustration of a prop that I actually bought. I actually bought, believe it or not, spent no expense. I bought a London taxi just for this presentation. But before you go saying, oh, he spared no expense, yeah, that's my London taxi. And I just want to use this to illustrate. You think of a car or a taxi that we're in. The taxi or the body of it is the physical body. So although, as I've stated, it's an amazing machine, absolutely an amazing biological machine. But it has four components. It has the body and then it has a driver. The driver is the emotions. The emotions are what make it. What press it. You put the foot on you change the gears and you put your foot on the accelerator, and it motivates the car to go. The mind is the navigator. And so we've got three bodies here. The body being the car or the taxi in my illustration there. And the mind is the driver, and the emotions, is the driver, and the mind is the navigator. And there's one left. And this is who you are, and this is the most important person in that taxi. Guess what it is? The passenger. Yay. It's the passenger who is having the trip. It's the passenger that is using the taxi, the driver, the navigator, in order to get him or her to wherever they want to go. In other words, the experiences that we have in life. We use those three bodies for us as what we are, a spiritual person. We use these three to get to where what we need and how we need to develop. So I'll come back to this, and now I want to talk about the spiritual body, because this is the one really that is so poorly understood. And the spirit body is actually more complicated than even the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. And it itself is comprised of three different components. I'll put these up on my board here for you. I'll just use that there. So now, the spirit. First thing I'm going to talk about is I'm calling it the connection center. Now, what do I mean by the connection center? The connection center is the part of our spirit that reaches out in a much more profound and deeper way than what our mental body can possibly reach out to. It's the difference between someone walking through a forest in their mental body, and they'll see themselves as just walking through trees. I see it nowadays, even people have got little earphones in their heads and listening to music there. But they're just walking through trees, not connected properly to the forest. Whereas someone who has developed this aspect of their spirit, the connection center, they will walk through the forest and will feel they're not just walking through trees, they're actually feeling like they're part of the forest. And the forest is a part of them. So there's a much deeper, more meaningful connection happening here. And this is an aspect of your spirit. It's also how we connect to other people. Because I'm a very firm believer in collective consciousness. And our spirit, it's this aspect of our spirit, the connection center, that we connect to, on one level, our family and friends, which is something I'm going to talk about I think it's episode 5. Anyway, we connect to our family and friends. You also see it at football grounds, believe it or not. But we call it sometimes an atmosphere. And that's why people go. They don't just watch it on TV. They actually go to get the atmosphere because they feel this connection. It's also, there's many layers of connectivity. We can also connect, as a human race to ourselves, to individuals within the human race, to be a collective consciousness. That's how the human race exists, as a collective consciousness. We can also connect to something even greater than that. And the consciousness of the earth. Now, I'm also going to present to you something that is well known to all indigenous cultures. It's been taught for eons of time. And that is, the earth herself is not just a lifeless rock traveling around a burning ball of gas. The earth herself is a living being. And she has, as I've put here, just up here, I've included the mind as air, the water as emotion, earth as the body, and spirit as the fire. So many of you have heard of earth, air, fire, and water. Well, those four are exactly the same as you and me as individuals. We have our body, our mind, our emotions, and our spirit. So it's very important to understand that we can actually even connect to the earth's spirit through our connection center. And we can all be as one. And it even goes beyond that. It goes further out. We can connect to our solar system. We can connect to our galaxy. We can connect to the universe. Just depends how strong you are and how deeply connected you are. First of all, of course, you have to be connected within yourself. That's another good point I need to make. But once you're connected within yourself, you can connect to all these other layers. It's kind of like layers of an onion. There's all these different ways of connecting. So that's the connection center. The second part of your spirit that I'm going to talk about is this is actually, and this is not the current thinking I know at the moment, but the subconscious mind, different from the conscious mind, is also a part of your spirit. Now, just think about that for a moment. Just let that absorb in. I'm going to liken the mind, the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind in a way that I think most people can relate to today. And that's with computers. Everyone can relate to that. Although it's not talked about so much with the hard drive and the RAM, but everyone will appreciate that. When we're working on the computer, we take out a file and we actually work on it. So we're changing it. That's often called the RAM. Well, that's the conscious mind. And when we've finished with that and we shut the computer down, then that information goes into the hard drive. Well, what I'm going to say to you is the RAM is to do with the mind here, the conscious mind that we're aware of, and it has memories of this lifetime. We forget things though, but the the hard drive is actually your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind absorbs everything. Not only from this lifetime, it also absorbs all of your lifetimes. All of your lives are stored in the subconscious. And that belongs to your spirit. It's not in your head, but your spirit is, I think I can show it to you. Your spirit is surrounding you. Sometimes called your aura. Some people call it the aura. But it surrounds you, but it also permeates you. It's in contact with every single cell of your body. And from there, we can reach out and connect. So, the subconscious mind. So now I've talked about the connection center as part of your spirit, the subconscious mind, which stays with you. Now I'm going to talk about the third aspect, and I'm calling this here the cauldron of your karma. So, not many people understand too much about karma. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use an illustration here about what your karma actually is and how it functions. And I've got this up here. Now, the way your karma works is when you first come into your first carnation, you have some karma there because that is the engine of the vibration of your spirit. So think of it, if your cauldron of your karma comes up, then you vibrate at a higher frequency. Conversely, if you do things that are negative, then this happens. I better drink a little bit of that because I'm going to overfill. So when you do good things, when you work with things like compassion, kindness, generosity, you know all the things. Of course, spiritual practices can help you here by meditation, being mindful. This can help you to actually then to live your life in a good way. And so what you do there is pour some in. So every act that you do starts to fill this up. And every time you tell a lie, do something maybe a bit more negative, I don't need to elaborate on that, but if you go the other way, then that goes down. So your vibration goes down. So in other words, it's up to you and me and everyone else on this planet to build our vibration up, to increase our vibration. This is one of the purposes of life. And when we get to this point when it's full, that is when you, as an individual, actually mature. Yeah. And I think it's in episode, where is it? I don't think it's until about episode, episode 11, where I'm actually going to talk about what does it mean once we have matured. But this is how karma works, which means there is no judgment. Judgment is something that we really don't. We all make mistakes. We all do things wrong. But if you understand karma, it's purely down to what you do. Also, I forgot to make a point. Also, it's your intentions as well. So let's say, for instance, let's take something really, really big. Someone actually witnesses a child walking between two cars, and there's a double-decker bus coming, and they risk their life to save the child. That would be, whoa, quite a bit of good karma coming in there. But if you were some distance away and you felt that your intention was to do the same thing, but you just weren't close enough at the time, so it was just circumstances. So if you have that intent to do something like that, then that might not be quite as much as someone actually that does the act, but because you've got good intent, then that also goes in. Of course, conversely, bad intentions, out it goes again. Now, there is absolutely no way in one lifetime to be able to fill this to the point where it almost overflows. There's just simply not enough time in 70, 80 years, even if everything you did was pure, a pure motive. And I'm going to talk about this too in episode 5, I think it is, the 5 wealths. That's going to be the one that I think is going to help us all to develop. So this is how karma works. Now, what happens when we die? Because it's our spirit that leaves the body and actually goes into the it actually goes into the spirit of the earth there. So we become, it's kind of like the earth has got a file on us. And so that's what happens when we die. And so our spirit, together with the connection center, the subconscious, which means that everything that we've learned in that previous life, together with everything we've learned in past lives before, and the cauldron of your karma, all goes with you. This is what survives at death. Not the body, not the conscious mind, and not your emotions. These things are left behind. But this goes with you. which now that leads me into the next episode, which is episode 3, and that is entitled Reincarnation, How It Works. So this is going to follow on, and please, if you like what I'm saying, if you like how I'm trying to present to you, then please, I've said it before, please look down, press that subscribe button, like it, press the subscribe button. Please also leave a comment, as I'll be very interested in getting some feedback. And I'll see you in episode 3. Bye for now. I'm Wolfster. Bye for now.